Hey, Daniel here. In this lesson on gain basics, I'm going to try to keep this pretty simple and clear for today. So first off, let's start out by saying gain and volume are two different things. Even though they seem to do the same thing, a clear understanding of each is needed in the audio engineering world. There are lots of various components in your signal path, whether analog or digital, that can go bad if you don't understand the effect of gain versus volume and how it works. A result of getting this right is lower noise floors, more clarity, more headroom, and a cleaner and greater dynamic range in regards to amplitude. Gain controls the strength of the signal coming in, while volume controls the loudness of signal going out. Volume is a measure of the output of a system as measured in decibels. Gain is the ratio between the volume at the input and the volume at the output of an electrical circuit. Tweaking the gain knob definitely affects the quality and tone of a sound. In analog audio, there is a peak amplitude based on voltage possible before you can't get any louder. In digital audio, there's also a peak amplitude based on bit depth of your system. The point is there's a maximum loudness inside an audio system before you start experiencing distortion as controlled by gain, but there's no maximum loudness outside the system at the output as controlled by volume. That's the key difference between gain and volume. There are a few settings on the input section of the console that I would like to walk through with you. In this conversation about the very basics of gain, I'm going to keep it pretty simple for now. In future modules, we're going to introduce you to gain structure, gain staging, and building a great mix. So there are a few things I want to talk to you about the input section on your console as far as knobs and some of the buttons and some of the functions that it does. First one I want to talk about is the gain knob. So when your gain is all the way down, you have an XLR plugged in, you're seeing signal. If you turn that up, you are adding voltage to the signal. You're changing the sound wave, adding voltage to it. The next parameter I want to talk to you about is phantom power. Phantom power is used on condenser microphones and active DIs. Phantom power takes and adds 48 volts of DC power that runs down your microphone cable to the microphone or DI, powering the electrical components within that DI or microphone. The next thing I want to mention is a high pass and low pass filter. Now I just want to talk about this and point out to you that in some cases on some consoles, this is found in the EQ section of your console. Some consoles, it is found in the input section. So I just want to make that clear that on some consoles, if you're looking for the high and low pass filter, which I use a high pass filter on almost every input on the console sometimes, I just want to point out and highlight to you that it could be in the EQ section or it could be on the input section of the console. The next button I want to talk about on a console is the phase button. So the phase button on most consoles is a phase flip. So it flips it 180 degrees phase from where it was at. So this could take you in phase. It could take you almost like halfway phase. So some consoles have a variable phase attenuation, and some consoles are just a phase flip button. The next button or parameter I want to talk about on the input section of the console is a pad button. Now, a pad button, like the gain knob boosts voltage to the signal, a pad button knocks it down, and it's usually a fixed parameter. It'll say -20. Some consoles will have a option that you could choose, but it's normally a fixed amount, and it'll say it right on the button. It'll say -20. And a lot of times I will use this on signals that are much hotter coming in, like from a computer, a keyboard or somebody's like iPhone, a signal they're giving to me. So just remember, if the signal is too hot, don't add gain to it. We want to pad that, and then you could add gain to it to get it to an optimal spot if you would like. So to recap on what gain versus volume is, I feel like this is kind of the best way I could explain it to you, is that gain is the input coming into your channel strip, and your output is your fader to the stereo bus, which is volume. So let me say it like this. When we change the fader for the volume on the channel, all we're doing is we're changing the amount that is being sent to the stereo bus. We could do a pre or post fader send to something like an aux, which if it is, it can affect the signal going to that aux send off the fader. Again, that's a pre or post fader send. Now, what I want to say to you, and this is the part that I really want you to latch on and grab onto, is that fader volume is only affecting things after that. Where the gain, if you turn the gain up, you are affecting the level that is going to the EQ, the compressor, the gate, any effect sends. You're also aux sends and all these other outputs that we have. So that right there is what I want you to really grab onto today and understand the difference between gain versus volume. So again, volume is just output. If we adjust the gain, it is going to change everything to the send to compressors, the send to our in-ears or wedges for monitors on stage. It is going to change it across the board. So get that in mind, that's the difference. The first thing I really want to get you to understand about gain is that idea of gain versus volume. Later on, we'll get into some more advanced things about gain and how recording studios and analog studios, they will use and actually distort the preamp to make an effect. And that's not what we want to do here. That would be very bad at this point. So like I said, grab on to that idea, the difference between gain and volume. Thank you for joining me today. My name's Daniel. I will see you next time.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.